Hi, this is First Look from Washington. Katie Couric is busy doing some interviews in New York today, so they've asked us to fill in. I'm Jim McGlinchy. I'm the senior broadcast producer for the evening news here in Washington. And today I have with me Gloria Borger, who's been covering the Mark Foley story. He's the congressman who has had to resign after sending text messages and emails to some of the pages on Capitol Hill. And Gloria, tell us a little bit about what you're working on.
Well, we're sort of working on what the Republicans do next, because yesterday, as you know, the House Speaker Dennis Hastert came out and he finally accepted responsibility for this mess. But he didn't resign, which was what a lot of people either wanted or thought he was going to do.
Really thought that was going to happen for a while.
Thought it was going to happen for a while. I think they've decided that, in fact, that would have created more stories, and they would have had to admit some culpability here. So instead, Hastert has said he is staying as Speaker, and they're heading back to their districts now and trying to get control of this story.
And what about the Ethics Committee? You said some people were talking about how that probably we wouldn't hear a report till after the election was over and that it wouldn't have any consequences. But you think?
Yeah, I don't know, Jim. I think we could hear before the election. There are some Republicans very nervous about that. They think that the Democrats are going to say the Ethics Committee get this out before the election because the American public has a right to know, and particularly because a lot of Democrats believe that it's going to be bad for the House Republican leadership. But we just don't know. That Ethics Committee is pretty straight shooting.
And if it does come out before the election, that'll certainly have an effect on the races and whether the president has a Republican or a Democratic House to deal with. And Jim Axelrod's going to tell us a little bit more about what how this is all affecting the administration.
Good afternoon from a space I'm not sure we've ever taken you to before. This is the temporary workspace for CBS News. For those of us who cover the president, it's not our old space, which is actually in the White House, but the new space at a conference center about 200 or 300 yards away from the White House. And today we're working on a piece about the fallout, the woes, if you will, that have afflicted the White House in the face of the Mark Foley congressional page scandal. In many ways, this has been among the most challenging weeks in recent memory for the president, and it really has nothing to do with anything he's said or done, at least as far as this week goes. The president's having a hard time being heard above the din created by the Foley scandal and some harsh attacks, maybe the harshest to date, about the Democrats being soft have not been heard. And the White House is obviously doing the calculations everybody else is in this town that the Foley scandal may cost the Republican Party control of the House of Representatives. That's the short-term problem. The longer-term problem, Senator John Warner, the influential Republican head of the Senate Armed Services Committee, is back from Iraq, and he's back from Iraq with a rather strong message saying if things don't change there in the next 60 to 90 days, it may be time for the U.S. to change course as far as Iraq goes. So the White House, heading into this weekend, is dealing with two rather significant issues, neither of which has anything to directly do with anything said this week. We'll be taking a look at that. In fact, you can see behind me I've got the beginnings of a first draft of a script on all this, but we'll be taking a more extensive look at all of this tonight on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Thanks, Jim Axelrod at the White House, and hope you folks watch tonight. And that's it from Washington.